Okay, we're back.
All right.
We should be back. Let me
Question about OBS, like where you at, Dresean?
double check.
That's
Yeah. Oh wait,
let
it's
me
working
let
now.
me know if it's on again. And otherwise, if people are listening, throw your questions in the thing, and we will get to those too. Where this is the intermission. Otherwise, if people are listening, throw your questions in
Yeah,
the
we're
thing, and
back. All right,
we will get to
great.
those too. Right. This is the
And they heard you.
All right, I like it.
Yeah. Okay. So that was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So one question I have for you is, what skills do you value the most for your employees
Yeah.
whenever you're hiring?
Man, I'm so gung ho on copywriting. And I also am really gung ho on soft skills, which I know you'd seen one of my videos about that. I believe that one of those soft skills, so this is a good important note on that. One of those soft skills is being wildly productive. So getting stuff done, on a regular basis. Now, obviously you need to have some skills to be able to get stuff done on a regular basis. But so productivity is a soft skill in my opinion. The ability to go quickly, you know what I mean, and try to like figure stuff out on your own. So I think those things are really important. And copywriting is, it gets a little bit more. It's a little bit more on the technical, not a technical skill, but you know what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
you actually can go out and take courses on copywriting. It's going to help you both get a job and it's going to help you be more effective in the job because copywriting bleeds into everything. You can put
Yup.
it on your resume. Hey, real quick resume tip for people or cover letter tip. Use hierarchy, visual hierarchy in your resume. I just saw a resume come in yesterday that was just all one block of text. Put up headlines, make something red. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It just needs to like grab my attention with some bigger text. As you know, like if you think about it, a lot of people you're applying to have no time, and you got to empathize with them,
Hmm.
and you got to try to be, try to make it easy to consume your long resume. I'm not reading your whole resume. But if you capture my attention, like maybe I will. You know what I mean? That idea. So that's
Right.
a quick one. But yeah, basically question about soft skills, OBS, like copywriting, and then it comes down to like, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Because hey, man, if you don't want to do this, if you're not headed in this direction, then I'm not going to try to fix. I'm not going to try to like direct you here. But if you want to do this, let's do this. Like I'm down. I want people that want to be what we need. So that's a hard thing. Like it's kind of like one last tip here, specifically on LinkedIn headlines. You think about people that send me something, they say, I want to be an SEO apprentice at your company. We've had an SEO apprentice job posting. And I mean, really, we're willing to train people from the ground up. Our team is awesome and they spend time with people and we actually care about people leveling up. Now, I go to their LinkedIn profile and it says, looking for a job in social media. No
Right.
offense, but like it's kind of like with PPC ads, you need headline and like landing page match, right? Like you can't just advertise for everything and then you go to the landing page and it doesn't say what it's supposed to. So you
Right.
kind of got to have it narrowed down. I mean, I get it. You're open to an entry level position in any kind of digital marketing, but when you're doing outreach, make sure the headline matches what you're saying you want.
100%. I agree. Absolutely. Especially as someone who's been in that position that has to hire people. And one thing that I would tack on to that is, if you're applying for an SEO job, I think soft skills, like, you need to have those soft skills. Like, you need to know how to communicate with clients and stuff like that. But also know what you're talking about as well. Like, I've seen so many times where people have applied to certain roles, that might previous companies were hiring for, and then I speak to these people and they tell me, like, yeah, I know SEO, and then I'm like, okay, what blogs do you read? And they don't know what blogs to read from. They get all this outdated information and they never continue their learning. So always continue your learning, because that's what most agency owners and
Yeah.
just companies in general are looking for.
Yeah, I'm looking way more for those people that want to learn for their whole life, not the people that have 3 degrees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So One of the most, trending things right now, especially because of COVID, is remote jobs. And
Yeah.
everybody loves remote jobs. How do you feel about remote? Do you hire remote employees at all?
I would challenge you on the fact I don't know that everybody loves remote jobs. I mean, I get that we're kind of tolerating it right now, and I would say that some people might like that, but I think there's a lot of people more than I feel like when you're in a position, it's like it's good that your mind goes to like what's good about this. Well, I like it, for this reason. It's good that we're remote. It's I like the freedom with my day, all these things. There are positive things about it. There's also negatives, and one of my negatives that I feel as before, even as a just somebody that worked at a company, not an owner, was I don't like that I can't separate my I don't want work in my house all the time. I don't want to be in work brain in my house. I want my house to be kind of in some, and it's okay that like we have to go through that for a period. And some people, we're back in the office. Too close. That's not 7 feet.
Right.
No, but we're normally doing better than that. Anyways, the point is what I'm trying to get at is there's been an element of like we're accepting what needs to happen. I don't love it partly for this. Like I've had contractors and stuff and them be remote. What I really want, man, I really want a culture. I want a culture of people that are excited to be here. And culture, dude, I'm going to say something spicy, but this is how I feel. Culture isn't just over Slack. You know what I mean? Like that's not culture, dude. Culture is clinking a glass of champagne. Culture is playing a board game or Super Smash Bros together. Culture is brainstorming up on the whiteboard. You know what I mean? Like culture is like, I mean, it's high-fiving, dude. Like it's all that stuff. And I get that it's not cool to talk about right now. But it is real, and people need that. We need community, and we need to hug each other. I know that right now we shouldn't be hugging each other too much. But I'm just saying, like, let's be real about the fact that we all appreciate that. And if you don't have that yet or whatever, that's all good. Let's just not like solidify in on like we're committed to never working together, in person. Like that stuff is all there's good and bads to both. But from my point of view, I love in-person culture stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm a big fan of Super Smash Bros. As well.
Yeah.
I actually used to play a little competitively, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Nice. I like that.
yeah, Pikachu player.
Ooh, I
That
was just Pikachu yesterday. I will say as a powerful player. I don't know that
yeah,
I'm not that good, but I did play
it's
yesterday.
fun though. It's really fun.
Yeah. I
Um,
like the shot where he shoots the lightning out of like straight up.
yeah, down. I think it's down B. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
We've got more than just career tips here. If you stick around, we'll go through all of Pikachu's moves.
for sure, for sure. So what do you say to the people who say, "Hey, if I'm working remote, I can get more done for your agency"?
Yeah. I part of me is like here's the alternative. What I like is I do like a certain amount of they call it what is it ROAS results only a ROWE results only work environment.
Hmm.
We have an element of that. Like I said, like if people are over here playing Smash Bros, I try to stop myself and I go a RO. What really matters? My ego about like let's not do that for an hour in the middle of the day, or on the other hand, if this person's behind, that's all that matters. Like, do they get the shit done that they say that they're going to get done? And that's what really matters. So I do like that about remote that it's you know results only work environment focused. It's about results. It's not about 40 hours is just kind of like a arbitrary number, but do you get the stuff done that you say you're going to do, and are you super productive? So I can see that side. This is just my preference.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm sure a lot of people like that perspective. So, So right now, like we're kind of in this weird thing where I feel that digital marketing is evolving. It's always evolving, right? Especially SEO. I mean, I think SEO now is more about user experience than it has ever been in its existence. And that being said, because digital marketing is always changing, because there's so many new skills to learn for the future. What do you think are the best skills for aspiring digital marketers to start learning right now so that they can stand out later on?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is, SEO, an SEO answer here. It depends. No, it depends. And it depends on a couple things. One, where do you feel motivated? Two, what problems are available to you that you can solve for money and get better at? And it's kind of, interesting to you. So like if I had like a templated answer, it might be like, I do think graphic design is a good skill. I do think copywriting and writing and actually just learning how to write and get it out there regularly is a good skill. I do think, well, link building is a good skill, right? And whether you do the guest posting yourself or you know how to get the guest posts and you know how to do that stuff, that's a skill, right? And on-page SEO is a skill. So if I had to template the answer, it would be those things, learning those things first. And from that, it really does depend though a bit on your personal energy. Because no offense, but if like you hate code and you just never want to touch it, like try it a few times. Don't like just say never. Try it, but then like understand there's a lot of room in this career and other careers around it that don't require that. So like, but the more, to me, also the more challenges that you are open to taking on that nobody else wants to do, the higher your income like ceiling is. So like if you're cool with taking on, that's the thing. Everybody rushes to the sexiest jobs, man. After I got out of school, everyone wanted to make logos and brands, brands and headlines. And I'm going to do this work at this high-end branding agency. And like, no offense, but man, everybody wants that job. Everybody wants that job. How do you solve hard problems that nobody else wants to solve? If you think that way, it's easier because you just don't get stuck in this cycle of like, I want to do stuff like exactly what I want to do. And, we get that way with SEO sometimes too, man. Like it happens. And I think it happens because we're soft. I'm soft sometimes, I'm soft because I kind of think I've learned it and I gotta continually challenge myself. Like I gotta try something new. Personally, I need to challenge myself. Maybe I don't need to change our company's process all over again, but I need to challenge myself personally.
Right. Yeah, I can agree with that. It's funny that we're talking about skills as well, because a lot of my viewers, both like they either really love PPC or really love SEO. So I have like some comparison questions for you. So for your clients, what do you see bring in the best results, PPC or SEO? And also, in your opinion, what do you value more between those when it comes to hiring in general for your company?
Yeah, so I'm hiring a PPC person right now, so I very much value PPC in that way. I am biased towards SEO though, because here's the deal, man. Like I think I see an example of a client that we have is they're spending $7,000 a month on PPC. Which, there's management in that, maybe like $1,500 or $2,000, and then there's ad spend, and then with us they're spending like, I don't know, $3,000. So less than half, right?
Right.
Now they're going to get results instantly from the PPC stuff. The first like 3 months, PPC's ahead. The first 6 months, PPC's ahead. 9 months in, SEO starts to take hold. There's evidence that SEO is going to win. It just takes longer, right?
Yep.
Now, that's hard as a business owner. That's really hard. But as a smart, scrappy entrepreneur, if you understand that, you can do that on your own. That's awesome. And certainly there's people that are much cheaper than SEO than us. My thing is like that year and a half mark of SEO, that 2-year mark of SEO, like that's the truth. Like if people would just down to understand exactly, like that stuff starts to compound, it's glorious. SEO starts to pull ahead wildly. Like it's this long-term mindset. I think of it so much of business as like this long-term mindset. You can have a long-term mindset, man, the ROI goes up, you get everything cheaper. Like it's huge. It's just very hard to think that way. So it's a special breed of people who like SEO, and once again, like that's why PPC is important and should be blended in, and I get why it matters. It's just I also like I got this punk rock mindset where I do want to like I want to manipulate the algorithm, man. Like
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
like best Google in certain ways,
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I get that it's like not cool to say it that way, like we're manipulating the algorithm, but I love
That's what we
manipulating.
do,
Yeah,
That's what we do at the end of the day.
freaking awesome. Like, and
Yeah.
I love it. When I see our stuff when I see our clients go up above other people's, I'm just like, oh
It's so
yes.
great. It's like the
Yeah,
best
it feels
feeling in the
good.
world. Yeah. Did you ever see there was like a while ago this guy named Kyle Roof. He created this tool called Page Optimizer Pro, and he did some
Yeah,
type of like
I've messed with that tool. Yeah, I've used it.
he did some type of like study where he like outranked these like real business owners with just using lorem ipsum text and mentioning these
Yes, I
people.
saw
You
that.
saw
Yes, it's kind of awesome.
that was awesome. That was funny.
Yeah. And Google just, I talk about this in our content all the time, but Google puts out these press releases and says it's about this and that. And then, no offense, but Kyle Roof's thing is a great example. And there's a lot more examples. Like, we need to think of ourselves as pirates a little bit. You can't just think of yourself as like, oh, Google put out another press release. Like, let's
Right.
look at this and really take it to like, just, I do think SEOs, if you're going to be an SEO, it's your special breed, and you need to think of yourself as a pirate, not as just like this little minion of Google.
Right. So, from your experience in hiring people, being that you have both, SEO people and PPC people in your agency, what do you say? What would you say that PPC people tend to excel at versus SEO people, and vice versa?
Boom, copywriting, man. I think copywriting leads there because it's hard to like have a copywriter be on every ad that you put out and you're constantly writing copy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think copywriting is a huge one. And I think the other one is just like you really like finding creative ways to get at certain audiences. Like
Right.
I think that that's huge. I do think a little bit of graphic design helps there with like, pay at least an eye for it, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard. It's like the answer is different if it's in a big company where you have 5 different people that can help you out with it. And then when you're, freelance, it's like, I got to do this myself. Otherwise the profit's gone on this project. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of if you're going big with a big company, really specialize. And if you're going with a smaller company or you're doing it yourself, you got to broaden out. You got to have more skills.
Right.
Probably in that case, the most important skill is going to be sales.
Sales. Yeah, I think sales is very important actually.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, if you're really, I think it's mostly important if you're a freelancer. Like you need to know how to sell yourself to people, and it's also important to sell.
Exactly. And the copywriting skills do work there too.
Right.
Like literally, if you know how to copyright, like it's a lot of that then transfers into sales. Weirdly.
Right. Right. Yeah. True. So I have another interesting question as well. With SEO, there's SEO on many different platforms, right? There's SEO on Bing and SEO on Google. What do you feel in regards to like SEO on YouTube? Have any of your clients asked you that for that as a service? Do you think that that's going to become the next big thing? I mean, we see videos growing at a faster rate than ever before. What are your thoughts on that? And do you also think one more? Do you think that somebody could in this day and age right now become a freelance YouTube SEO consultant?
Absolutely. I think that's possible. I think niches are beautiful. And then it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, I do other stuff. It's just, this is my niche. This is my main thing. You know what I mean? I think that's a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you don't turn down like opportunities for other jobs, but you put that out on your like LinkedIn and all your stuff, and you kind of crush on that because just people are looking for those. And it's kind of like one of those things where if you're exact match for something that they wanted, like that's good.
Right.
Um, I think, I mean, from my point of view, so we're learning that ourselves right now. We're not necessarily, what do you say? We're not necessarily doing that for clients currently. I mean, a little bit because we have some video clients, but I think that blends well with if you're doing video for clients. Because the hard part is you gotta then obviously, well, this might not be that hard. This is the idea that you got to find people that already are doing video pretty rhythmically.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's interesting because part of it comes down to, will they let you define which topics?
Right.
Right. Because ultimately I think that that's probably like one of the best parts about our ability as an agency versus some others is like we have 3 in-house writers, 3.5 if you count Alex. Look at him. Look at him. Yeah. Yeah, we've got 3.5 writers, and it's he's also a project manager. That's what I say.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, so just like Alex sucks. No, just kidding. No, basically just this idea that like if you can't define some topics for writers or the client, like it's hard to do any SEO in my opinion. Like I feel like you have to have some ability to affect the trajectory of content.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, 100%. So we have a question. I want to see if, I'm going to read this question out to you. I do have more questions, but I do want to read this
Sure.
one. So Cynthia says, I'd be curious to know what Tim looks for in a new hire.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the most important things is I want to do this thing. And then the second most important is I really like this company. I want to do this thing here. And then all the soft skills come right after that, which is like, are they okay with people? Are they good at talking to people? Are they nice? And do they have the ability to learn quickly? And are they hungry, meaning are they motivated to work quickly? Like those, learning quickly is a big one. Wanting to do it and wanting to do it at this company is a big one. So if somebody came into me and said like, and I've had this like recently, like somebody applied for the third different job here.
Mm-hmm.
That's getting into my brain now because I'm kind of roasting on my head a little bit because I'm like, damn man, it's like whatever job we have, but at the same time, like this is a good person and he wants to work here bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's cool. That makes me happy. Like I think that matters a lot to especially like a little bit smaller business. If somebody really wants to work there, like if they had a list of their top 10 places to work and I'm on it, that's a pretty big deal to me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but basically it comes down to like good communication skills, willing to learn quickly. Those technical skills are, at least started, but like they don't have to be fully. But that's here because we're willing to train people a bit. That's a
Right.
little bit different for some other places that don't want to train.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have those technical skills, in some places you might be out of luck. That's just how they do it.
Right. So let's say you have someone who wants to work at your company really badly, but because of COVID, right? Like, they're located in another state. Let's say they're in, New York. They want to work with you so badly, but they can't move right now because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Um, is there opportunity there,
Yeah.
or yeah, okay? And so, well, that answers the question.
Nice.
Great. Okay, cool.
I mean, like we kind of talked about that a little bit before this. It's like, are they the exact right fit? Like to me, I'm totally down with like if somebody is the exact right fit, like figuring out how to make it work. Like that's part of it. But I think that comes down to a lot of factors.
Right, right, 100%. Um, so when you are looking through these resumes, because I'm sure you get a lot, when you're looking through them, are you looking to see if people have college degrees? And
No,
if you,
sir.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think that college degree does say a bit. Like it does say that they like were willing to go through the bullshit bureaucracy of a college environment for a long time, which is saying something. It's kind of annoying, right? Like, did you go to college?
I went to college, but then I dropped out.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, I wouldn't care
Right.
if somebody. But it comes down to this, man. If you've done the work
Yeah.
day in and day out, like as a freelancer, that's a different world, man. If you've done that for years on end,
Hmm.
that person is so much better qualified. Half of me wants to tell people, like, if you can learn a bit of sales and do this, just do it. For some people freelance, like you're so much better equipped than any college degree, because you both had to sell it and you've had to do it and figure it out on your own. I almost feel like half of me wants to say, like, if you want a job, don't try to get a job, freelance and learn, and then the job will find you. Like, that's
Right.
overstating it, but that's real. I mean, that's kind of the vibe I've got,
Hmm.
which is just I want people with real experience over everything, even college degree. The college degree, like I think people. I don't even think I ask half the people. I don't think I ask what they go to school for or where they went to school or anything.
Right.
If they tell me they've worked in this industry, especially, yeah, the degree means nothing.
So, what if being, what do they need to show you in order? Do you guys give an assessment out, or would you just look at their case studies? Like if they have case studies, they can show you what
Yeah.
how do you then determine? Okay,
Yeah,
we
we've
can move
had
forward with
people
you.
do assessments, and I'm trying to filter better with that. A brief assessment or a creative challenge. I think case studies would be pretty impressive to me, because no, I don't think I've had a ton of I haven't had a ton of applicants that have had like a website with a bunch of case studies on it.
Hmm.
So that would be, yeah, that would be very, very impressive.
Cool. So Cynthia asks another question. She says, "What are the biggest challenges when it comes to hiring new talent?" It's interesting to understand that from an agency owner perspective.
Can you say the first part one more time?
What are the biggest challenges when it comes to hiring new talent?
Oh yeah, I think. Let me think for a second. You're just scared. Just to put yourself in the brain of an agency owner, you're just scared that you're gonna make a bad decision. Like, and you're also scared that the person will stay around, because especially like if they're training you, like you're scared that they're gonna stay around for 1 year and leave.
Right.
Like that's scary as an agency owner, because they're putting, like, in particular, we put like a good 6 months of just like piling in value to someone, and if they
Hmm.
leave after a year, that's just so terrifying. um it's basically just, you're scared on that side that you're going to make a wrong decision, or that you can't find a job or whatever, and they're scared on their side that they're going to waste hard-earned money, or that the coworkers might be annoyed with their hire. I think people always focus on the decision maker, right? But
Hmm.
if you can talk to the coworkers, and they have you into an interview and there's two other people there, and they're like, let's see if there's a culture fit or something like that. You can talk to those people and, like, you know convince them that you're a good candidate. Like, there's kind of some value to that. I think it's kind of like I said, there's fear around it. There's fear as an agency owner that you're going to make a right decision. I'm a new manager, new hiring person.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I get worried that I'm going to make the wrong decision. So it's about giving them confidence. I think it's about figuring out how to give them confidence that you're going to do what it takes. You may not know everything now, but you're going to do what it takes, and you're willing to work hard to do it. Even if it took you 45 hours a week instead of 40, you're willing to do it. You're willing to go out and learn. You're willing to do what it takes. I think that communicates, but it's also like, not, you don't want to be pitching so hard that they think like you might not be valuable.
Right.
So another thing might be you asking them questions about what value they provide to you. Like, don't go too hard on that, but softly ask about, like, hey, what kind of ongoing training do you guys do? And when if in 1 year, I think this is a good question. If in 1 year we're looking back on this past year and we say, man, that was a crazy, awesome year, first year for me as an employee. What would have I done to create that? So it's like you want to ask questions that both get them to pitch the job to you a little bit and really get them to imagine what it will be like a year from now when you, because if they explain that, they're going to have to go through that in their imagination.
Right.
If you can get somebody to imagine a future scenario of working with you, you got a leg up on the competition.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. So that also leads me to another question then. Are you Do you guys accept people who might already be freelancing and they don't want to get rid of their clients but they want to work with you? Or do you see that as a conflict of interest?
Yeah, I think yeah, we're totally cool. Our employees freelance, and just kind of comes down to like it's not going to be so distracting. And I do think that is it. That is one other thing about the remote work environment thing that's kind of scary for a business owner is like I get it, man. I had clients and I did work during my work day,
Mm-hmm.
like for my other freelance clients. It's kind of like the cool dad that also did drugs when he was younger. So he kind of knows like, dude, you're smoking weed. Don't do it. Like we got to fix this. So it's kind of like that with the owner that was a freelancer before. It kind of comes down to it's good to freelance, but like I need the 40 hours a week. That's like the deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it gets almost a little bit more stringent if you are freelancing because we can't have that. You know what I mean? Like we can't have that too much bleeding into the value that you've said you're going to provide for the business.
That's a great perspective. And I have so if you had to I feel like you answered this question already, but I'm gonna ask again. If you had to choose four pillars that would make the perfect like marketer, even for your agency, right? Like four pillars.
Yeah.
What would those four pillars be?
Four pillars. The perfect just employee.
The perfect like just marketer, like
Mark.
whether employee yeah, just like
I'm going to lead with sales.
okay,
Learn to sell. Two, copywriting. Three, SEO. Four, visual design. That would be my ideal scenario.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
Everything else can be layered onto that, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. So we have some more questions from Cynthia. She says, another question, since we touched base on remote work, from your perspective, how has COVID changed the landscape of digital marketing?
Yeah, it comes down to niches because our niche wasn't that crazy hit because it's home services.
Yeah.
And yet I've seen some agencies in town and actually like a good percentage of them that had to lay people off, and we're sympathetic towards that. And we don't want to be like, oh, look at us, we survived and did better or whatever. And that's kind of a weird balance to strike. It didn't affect us a crazy ton. I do think there's a few more people that are willing to do digital marketing that would have spent that money on trade shows. Mm-hmm. And there's a good amount of e-commerce or like there's a lot of PPC business that fell off for a lot of agencies for a while because people just stopped spending because it's like, I don't even know if we can get our products from China or wherever, so there was a big hit. And I think a lot of that business is like slowly, sadly trickling back, but it's not like a rush and it's not going to fix itself overnight. I think like you look at like little indicators of like the broad market and they're like, like the Dow Jones is up and stuff. Part of that is just fucking like a little bit of a cash influx from all that money that the government put in. It's not like true. It's good. I mean, it's not bad, right? Like we're not mad that the market's up a bit, but like it's not like full on recovery. It's kind of a little BS. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But digital marketing, man, it's got the same kind of components as the broader market. Is like it's taken a hit, I think. I mean, it's also it's also like some people put more money into it than before. So it's goods and bads.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely don't wish it would happen again.
Right. Oh yeah, me neither. I got people roasting me in the comments right now.
let's hear.
They're like, one person's like, he's lurking in the shadows. The next person's like, need a light. Oh, same guy. He's like, you need a light, bro. Then Cynthia's like, Jesus is shining on Jerry right now.
Yes.
Start.
By the way, dude, can you give us some more of those Pikachu cheat codes? I need them.
That's why that's why he's shining down on me, because I'm a Pikachu.
Yeah, you got the Pikachu cheat codes over there.
Yeah, right.
He's lighting up.
It's like the chosen one. Yeah, so
I actually was wanting to roast you earlier for that. I'm glad that everyone else is. That light on that shirt, dude.
Yeah, I can't control it. I'm gonna, normally it looks better here, but yeah. So guys, do you guys have any additional questions for Tim? Throw some in the chat.
Come on, guys. It's Friday. Let's have a little fun. Any more questions?
Throw some questions, guys.
Give us one more question, and then we'll get off your feed.
Yeah, let's go. Okay. Is there a certification you find is the most important for new digital marketers to have?
Not really. I think there's a lot of bad classes out there, like not that trustworthy. I think there's two that I might look at. One, there's like a Conversion XL subscription where you can get into a bunch of classes. And if you took a bunch of those, I would be super impressed. And then there's one more that's Directive. Directive is an SEO agency, and they've got some kind of a little bit more one-on-one, but really good, solid information from what I understand. So I would say those two. And then being the type of person that's reading bigger, longer guides and like absorbing them and experimenting with them. There's a lot of free information out there. You don't have to pay for that much to really get a ton of, there's so many people giving away value out there because, we're SEOs.
Right.
It's what we do. Like giving away tons of free value.
100%. I think the only value in like having someone to guide you through that is, there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah.
So that's a big issue, but
the other thing is like if you have a real experiment, like the experiment can help fix disinformation.
Right. That's true. That's why I always tell people, it's funny. I always tell people like never take what other people are telling you at face value. Actually go experiment and test everything. Like everything, when I started in my career, like I tested everything, right? Like I did everything. I did, I remember like I did not only SEO, like I did PPC, I did email marketing, everything. I tried everything. But because of all of the misconceptions around Google's algorithms and how Google works and stuff like that, it's just like in order to learn, you have to experiment. There was a time where I did something for an experiment and I was like ranking #1 for like SEO expert NYC, and I outranked every single agency in New York for that term.
Nice.
And I just did it because I was like, there was this guy named Joe Balestrino, and I was just like, man, I want to try to outrank this guy. And so I don't know, I just saw him and I messaged him too on LinkedIn. I remember I was like, hey man, you have a nice website. And he didn't even know I was trying to compete with him, but I was just like messaging him and telling him that because I was looking at it, and eventually I passed him.
Nice.
Yeah. So, guys, do you have any additional questions? Come on, I know you do. I guess I'll ask some questions for my freelancers out there and for people who are looking to start an agency or something like that.
Yes,
so,
sir.
What do you think is the hardest part of building an agency from the ground up?
Let's say, are you saying like 1 to 3 people?
I'm saying 15 people.
15 people. I don't know because I'm not to 15 quite yet, but no, like let's see, all the way to 15, dude. I would say one of the most painful things that I've experienced is like losing employees, and not knowing like what we did wrong and feeling like we got to change everything because I want people to want to work here, man. I don't want to. It's also been one of the most beautiful parts.
Right.
Learning how to make an environment that's motivating to people and that honors them as a human being and like treats people well, both our clients, our employees, our vendors, whoever else. Like if we can do that, dude, everything else I think can fall into place as long as the business is not like trash.
Right. And so I have another question. Chris Cudmore says, how do you prioritize your SEO tasks in your agency? Technical, on-page link building, content marketing, etc.
Yeah, I'm a big content and links guy. Keep it simple, content, links. But there is that initial bit of SEO, like you just got to make sure the thing is crawlable. So technical is like foundational. Just make sure it's good. Yep. Like you need to do that first on any account. And then I think it comes down to getting pretty heavy duty with both content and links, but never establish a pattern you can't follow through on. So it's not about, I know that it's a temptation to blast a client site with a bunch of links right away, but it's about figuring out like what can we do that's maintainable but still gets that result quick enough that the client doesn't fire us, right? So it's like a weird balance, and you have to figure out, like, I do think it's about establishing a healthy but aggressive pattern that you can stick with. If they paid you for 20 months or 50 months or whatever, that you can stick with that pattern and you can follow through. So if you're getting like 5 guest posts a month, like make sure you can get 5 guest posts a month. Next, like basically figure out in like there's diversity in links too. So it's not just guest posts, but you know what I'm saying? Like find ways that it's a general rhythm that can stay somewhat steady. It's not this big old,
right.
And I think content links are hard to say which one's more important. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why I'm a big advocate of just creating really good content. Like if you create really good content, like resources that people will like, you will get links. Like people don't believe it, but I've done it several times for my own clients. You know what I mean? Just told them, create this amazing resource that you think everybody in your industry is going to love. Sometimes some of them work, some of them don't, but we have to do the right research.
I mean, my thing, okay, question for you. What kind of clients are you working with most right now?
So the clients I'm working with most right now are like people like right now I have a client that's a biotech lab, and what they do is they create transgenic mice models and they sell them to universities and stuff like that. And so they're competing with big, companies. And I'm still like, they have like these, there's like companies like jax.org and stuff like that they're competing with. And those companies have like full teams of SEOs, and I'm outranking all of them. And it's just from creating really good content, making sure that Google can find the content, right? And also just making sure that we are doing the right audience research to make sure that when we're getting those people coming to our website, not only is the content, because one of the issues they had before was they had a previous consultant who was like doing all of their SEO, and he was attracting the wrong audience. So they were getting like a bunch of traffic to their website, but no conversions. Where I took a very focused, hone in on your audience approach, get those people to come to your website, rank for the keywords that you want to rank for, and then get conversions. And that has impacted their business significantly.
So my deal is like, I'll be honest, I disagree with the content will just attract links thing.
Well, I think it's more like
that's just I think that, like, to be honest, I think you're in the majority on that particular opinion, but I have like a strong opinion that I just think you have to get links. I mean, like for small businesses, that's my take.
Okay, but I think that what I mean is like if you create content, right, and you share your content on social media, you have a social media following, you have a Twitter, you have this and that and the third, and people see it and they continuously share it. Other companies will, if it's good, other companies will link to it if they like it, right? Or if it's helpful. Like think about it like this.
I haven't seen that happen as much, so maybe your content is just way better than mine.
I'll give you an example. If
Yeah.
people are new to SEO and they want to learn how to do SEO and they want to learn how to do an audit, right? And you have a school, let's say, this is just an example, you have a school that doesn't teach SEO, but maybe like General Assembly, for example. General Assembly teaches digital marketing to people, right?
Yeah.
If they find a web page that has a resource that they do not have on their website but is useful to their users, like
Yeah.
the best SEO audit template, and they find that it's useful for their users, they will, if they see it, they will link to it. And it's just about getting it in front of them by sharing it on social media. So I've seen it many
Yeah, in my experience, I haven't seen that as much. That's all I'm
Gotcha.
saying. Like, and I went into it thinking that would be the case, and I tried it for a long time, and I didn't see it happen enough to drive organic stuff. So, and this is the deal. Like, I'm talking about, like, for instance, for my website, I went from 0 to 200 page views a day, which was like good, but I got stuck there. And then I did figure out big guides, right? Big guides got me up to 400 a day, right? And then a couple leads a week and all that, right? And then I found link building, and link building brought me up to 1,000 a day. And then from there, we're up to around we're above 5,000 page views a day now. So basically I'm saying this is my experience. I know that that's different for some people. We do get a lot of natural links we do get a lot of natural links, but there's just some stuff that's really hard to rank for. Right. And so we're finding other ways to get links.
Okay. Yeah. No, I definitely think getting links is important, but I think if you think about it from a long term perspective, and it also depends on the types of companies that you're working with,
for big corporate companies, I don't think they should do any linked building. Really,
they don't have to, because everybody knows that.
Yeah, exactly. It's already authoritative. So if a site's already authoritative, there is a lot of cases. We've had clients where we were trying to build links and we actually should have said stop.
Yeah.
These guys have links from CNN, MSNBC, Forbes, and everybody. They have links from every big seed website out there. We need to stop. We shouldn't have done any more links. We should have pivoted. So there's certain cases where it's just not smart.
Right.
This wasn't a big corporate company. This is a 200-person company that just probably should have been doing more content and less links. So there's definitely cases. I'm just saying we work with a lot of small businesses, 1 million to 10 million in revenue. So for them, a lot of times their website isn't authoritative at all. And it hasn't been around that long. And basically, I realize that some people disagree with me on this too. So I don't need to necessarily keep on going on that per se.
Right. Do you work with, so your company, since you're working with smaller businesses, is it local business owners, like dentist, you work with home repairs shops and stuff like that?
Yeah, we have a lot of high-end home builders, roofing companies, some solar and plumbers and actually we don't have an HVAC yet, but I do want HVAC companies. Anyways, and then we have the other side, which is professional services. We have services clients. So let's say anything you could think of, IT. We have 3 IT clients. Oh, that kind of stuff, or a little bit of medical too. And I do see it financial and medical being hard. And I will say, I don't think I'll ever do a realtor. Realtors it's too tough, man. The whole first page of Google is just stacked with big boys like Trulia and House and everybody, So I'm all about it is about finding which niches really have opportunity. There's more opportunity in certain niches. I think medical's hard. We do have some medical clients. I do think we have a dentistry SEO is a little easier. But there's tons of good niches. It's just not, SEO isn't perfect for everybody. And there's a lot of niches that I don't think SEO should be the main deal. If you're a realtor, I personally think you should be out on social media. You should be trying to increase referrals.
Yep.
You should be doing video.
Right. Yep. And it's a multi-channel approach. I think that if there's opportunity in any, marketing channel for your business, you should take advantage of it. I do understand that some people depending on what their budget is. Sometimes they have to start off small, start off with SEO, and then branch into other things. But 100%. So we have a couple more questions here. Actually, we got a lot. Um, so Cynthia asks, how do you start an agency, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think for me, it was easiest to do overlap. Like I overlapped at another agent. I worked at another agency, and then I was doing my freelance thing on the side, and I built up that website to about 400 page views a day. And I was getting leads from that at least a couple a week. And then I basically saved money. And then I kind of went out on my own as a freelancer first. And then I hired my first person, which was my wife. And then I added one more person, like about, around a year after that. And so it's also like, I do think it's like, if you're a freelancer and you start leveraging other freelancers, and then you essentially, it's basically sales. You do enough sales, and then you've got enough to hire the first person, the second person. And then you just, you want the website to be strong. So you're not just currently doing one-to-one sales. You're starting to hit a broader audience of people every day on the internet, in my opinion.
Oh, okay. And then somebody says, what do you think are the top 3 SEO tools to have?
I am a Ahrefs guy. I love Ahrefs, ahrefs.com. Good old Search Console.
I love it.
Google Search Console,
I
right?
love it. Yeah.
That's free and amazing, and that can help you do half of it, And then probably maybe can I do 4? I'll just throw in I definitely think Rank Math is a great tool.
I love it too.
Yeah, I love Rank Math. It's more powerful than Yoast, and it's more stuff on it is free.
Yep.
And then I've this is actually, it's starting to outgrow me a little bit. I do a lot of SEO, but I don't use this tool, but my team loves it. Surfer.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's one of those. I love those are my 4 favorite tools, I would say. Ahrefs, Surfer, Search Console, and Rank Math. Yeah. And actually, I got to throw in a 5th one, KW Finder. I think it's the most accurate. Right. Yeah, right. I love that tool.
Sweet.
Okay, cool. So someone says, what's your greatest success story pertaining to a client?
Question for you real quick. Is there any more spicy questions in there? Because I feel like you've been saving me. These are all super nice. I'm sure there's something in there. Right? I don't care about being roasted. What's the most interesting question there? I'll answer that one in a second.
All right, cool.
Anything else that's spicy or would be interesting? I don't give a fuck.
I think I don't know if I would call it spicy. I think an interesting question is, do you have any uncommon exclusive tactics for local SEO that you would share?
Ooh. So first of all, probably not uncommon. It's so funny to me is a lot of it's when you're early, you're looking for hacks.
Right.
But when you're late, you're looking for consistency and habits. You know what I mean? I'm asking you to focus on habits and asking you to focus on hard stuff, not trying to look for hacks. And that's the biggest hack in the world, is not looking for hacks. We've got a whole guide on it. I don't know if Dresean might too, but hookagency.com/local. And we give away everything we could possibly squeeze for local SEO. So we squeezed all the juice we could. We don't have secrets. We give everything away. hookagency.com/local.
Yeah, guys, check it out. And his website is really nice.
Yeah, this particular guide is really cool too. It's actually about zombies.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of zombie illustrations and stuff. It's pretty cool. So hookagency.com/local. And then the other question about the best example of a client result is I've been working with this one roofer since 5 years ago. I made his first website. Mm-hmm. And he was originally at 60,000 revenue a year. And he just sent me a text message. I don't think I have my phone on me. But he sent me a text message showing his CRM tool going over $5,000 or 5 million, 5 million. He got to 5,000. Yeah, I still have like a small brain about money sometimes. I'm like, dude, $5,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But 5 million bucks this year, dude, already. And it's not even like we've got a whole another 3 months. So that's probably the
great.
best one. SEO has been a huge piece to that. So that's probably the best one. And he has, hundreds and hundreds of people on his website a day, tons of leads. So
cool. Okay, I'm gonna ask got 3 more questions for you.
Yeah.
So what is the worst client that you've ever had, or client story? You don't have to name the client, but what's the worst client story that you have that you could think of?
Oh, there's so many. So many. Are we talking like, okay, I'll go with the one that I hate. Like this was this past winter. And we've had a number of really bad clients. Let me give you 2. You're gonna have them. Like, just know that you're 100%. Gonna have them. You can't fix that. It sucks. You just gotta kind of like we all gotta like work on our mental toughness. It's stupid, but it's true. You just can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
So we're getting better, but so one of them, my wife's dad passed away this past December, and we were trying to go, that day was the funeral, and we had a client that was bugging us about something, and my wife said, I'm out. She didn't say why per se, like I have to go to a funeral. She didn't say like who. She was trying to be nice, she's trying to not try to like impose all that. And then the person like immediately, I think she said family member. Anyways, then the person immediately messaged me. We have a big team, like we have enough people that they don't have to message the 2 owners of the company who are probably at the same funeral together. Right. So anyways, that whole thing of like getting somebody like with negativity on the day of a pretty big life event. And then the other one I would say, which that shit happens, man. And we've made it really important now. We changed a lot from that situation, and that like sticks in your mind, right? Which is around like, we send out a video of like our why, like when we get on a new client, and we donate on their behalf to a charity of like $100, just to kind of say like, we're human beings. And we're trying to be good. We're trying to be human beings. Like maybe you try to be a good human being too. You know what I mean? Like people don't treat you like humans sometimes. That's a weird part about like being digital, and like, I don't know. It's strange.
It's funny that you say that, because I actually do that too. Like I don't donate, but I'll send people like a video of my why before I start working with them. So that's interesting.
That's good, man. Just make sure people know you're just a human being. Like we're not just a mechanical Turk over here doing all your stuff.
Yeah, like when I was like failing with the OBS stuff earlier, you were just like, no problem, man. I don't know why OBS started messing up, but that was great.
And then lastly, one other real quick story is basically like we had a client where we sent him all the stuff. At the end of an engagement, he ended it like 2 months in. This was because we sold when we knew we probably shouldn't have sold this client.
Okay.
When they were like waiting, and we messaged them on a Sunday because we wanted to hit a goal.
Right.
We set up a sales goal. We wanted to hit that goal, and we messaged them on Sunday and said, "Let's get that signed, buddy." That client ended up being trash. It was bad. It was horrible. Right. And we should have known. We should have been pushing. You got to watch the pushing thing on sales a little bit sometimes, because you can get some wackos. Because sometimes they're not signing because they're not supposed to sign. Let it not happen. Right. And this guy, like, he quit 2 months afterwards, even though I can't get you any result in 2 months, dude. And well, it's hard to get an actual serious SEO result in 2 months. And then like 5 times afterwards, he emailed us for all the assets, and he was basically having someone else do the work for super cheap, and like kept on emailing us. He made me I'm trying to be nice. I tried to help this person and be as useful as possible to them, but like, I shouldn't be giving all of our process over to your person. Like, this is another marketing person who's just your relative. I mean, I shouldn't be like outlining how to do SEO to your relative.
Right.
like we are paid to do the service. We're not paid to educate your relative on how to take the account from us. Right. So anyways, that was weird. And he just kept on emailing us. It's been like 12 months now. Every once in a while I'll just pop in like, hey, where's that content calendar again? It's just like, dude, whew. Anyways.
Interesting.
That guy, I mean, like
that's some crazy horror stories, man. Like I hope, like I mean, I've had some horror stories. One of my biggest, I'll share one of mine. One of my biggest horror stories was I was working with this lawyer, and I don't know why I did this because normally like I do a retainer, right, and I make them pay me up front before I start working with them. But for this guy, I think this is when I think he was one of my first clients. I was like, hey, you could pay me. He was paying me $1,000. Like, you could pay me $500 up front and $500 at the end of the month. That was one of the biggest mistakes that I had ever made because what happened? I had to like chase, like I wasn't chasing him down because I'm not like money hungry, but at the same time I'm like,
dude, give me that money, dude.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then he didn't understand because most business owners, they don't really understand like what you're doing until like even if you explain it to them, they don't know what you're doing until they see the result. Right. Yeah. And they still don't understand it after they see the result. Right.
Yeah.
But with him, it was.
And they're like, why? Well, there's, organic leads are up 40%, but how do we know that's not from email? No, dude, that's organic leads, dude. Like,
and with him, since he was a lawyer, it was kind of intimidated to be like, hey, can you pay me my money? Because it was just like, damn, I don't want to get on this guy's bad side.
Yeah, I've had lawyers are scary, dude.
They are.
I have a friend that's a lawyer. He's kind of scary. I love him though.
All lawyers are scary. Like that's why. I mean, I love him. I mean, the guy that I was working with, he was a nice guy. He was just hard, man. Like he was so. I guess he was so busy because he had like the law firm, and then he had another business, like an e-commerce business that he was trying to run while he was being a lawyer. And then he wanted it was too much. I remember he wanted me to do.
Yeah, I don't like doing stuff for people's side projects.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I'm like,
I want this to be your real deal, like because. Otherwise, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, but it's like, what's the point?
Yeah,
he was like transitioning. He was transitioning. Like he was trying to decide, and it was just like, like, dude, just focus.
I tell people to overlap, but I don't want to do SEO for your overlap. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that's one thing I've found is actually an interesting thing. Is I don't do SEO for single person businesses really. Mm-hmm. I do think that I probably would have told myself earlier not to do that because it's a big, no matter what you charge, it's a pretty big expense for a single person business. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of scary to be that much of an expense for somebody. Like it's a lot of pressure to put on SEO, like you're kind of shying away from saying it earlier, but I don't think SEO should be your only marketing thing by any means. Like you gotta, whether you like, if you're a single person business, from my point of view, you need to hustle for yourself and you need to do a lot of your own marketing. Mm-hmm. If SEO is part of that, like, I don't know, like, I think you should be doing it yourself. That's my take. And I think that you kind of protect yourself as a SEO person when you kind of like, I respect single person businesses. I respect that. I just don't want that person as a client because it's that's a big expense from my point of view. Even at $1,000 a month, that's a big expense for a single person business.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm right there with you. Like I'll never work with just one person. I remember like recently somebody that I know actually tried to work with me. he's an electrician. I was just like, nah, it's okay, man. I'll point you in the direction of somebody else or just learn it yourself.
Yeah. And what I would do like in that situation, like, there's this dude, Sean McCabe, who's awesome, who does a lot of freelancer focused content. Check him out. Sean West on Instagram, but he talks a lot about full price or free. Like I'll spend 2 hours with you making a WordPress site, but I cannot give you a WordPress site for $1,000, right? Like
right.
It's full price for us or free. I'm willing to spend tons of time with somebody, like, especially like, friends and stuff like that, or people I'm trying to, help in some way. Like I'm willing to do stuff for free. I'm willing to consult with you, hang out with you, but I don't want to give you like this deal and then resent you for it,
Yeah, I totally, like, you just spoke to my heart, man. I totally feel you on that. Damn, that's crazy. I just had a conversation about that like last week with somebody that I know, and I told him the same thing. But that's interesting.
I'll sit down with you for an hour, man. I'll show you some stuff. Like, let's do this, but let's not. I
Yeah,
don't want to do this cheapo thing that I'm
right,
not proud of, and you're not going to be proud of.
right. And you know that leads me to asking you, how do you qualify your client?
Is there a budget there? I think budget is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is just like, can we get the result? Do these guys have reasonable expectations for what the result is?
Right.
And I
Okay.
think like, and then lastly, are they not an asshole? So like, if they're an asshole, dude, like, I'm sorry, like, I'm not the main sales guy anymore. We've got a sales guy. Um, if they're an asshole, dude, we're gonna, you don't get away with selling to an asshole. And if you're a freelance, like, that's just because of hard fought truths that we learned along the way, man. It doesn't, so yeah, bant is a great word. And then I think making sure that you can knock it out of the park for them. Like they need what you've got and like they have reasonable expectations. That's always a scary one, especially when you're first starting out at stuff. Dude, just to be real, I did all this poorly for a long time before I did it well.
Mm-hmm.
And like you learn it along the way. It's hard to learn it from someone else because the pain is the best teacher.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, Tim, thanks for joining my show today, and
Yeah.
it's been a great conversation. And guys, if you need Tim, you can follow him at. Let him know your social handles one more time.
Yeah, everywhere besides YouTube, just search Hook Agency on YouTube. Everywhere else is at Hook Agency, or like / Hook Agency. It's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then I think our best content, I will say, is on LinkedIn. So check my stuff out at Tim Brown Hook Agency on LinkedIn, and yeah, let's
Yeah,
hang
yeah,
out.
for sure. I will say one thing: you do have a really interesting LinkedIn feed, so definitely check
Yeah,
him on LinkedIn, guys. I read all his content, watch all his videos, so you guys should too. All right, so thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
thanks, guys.